So recently here on the Making Stuff channel, we have acquired an X-Tool metal fab. Now this has been one awesome piece of machinery. However, right now I've got it scattered all over the shop. That's because the metal fab consists of a lot of different pieces and parts, such as the CNC platform. There is the laser module and the wire feed unit. There's also a lot of tips and nozzles that I have to keep up with. There's a lot of consumables such as lens protectors, and the metal fab also uses different types of gas depending on what you're doing with it. So it can be using argon, oxygen, or compressed air. So it seems like I'm constantly moving the metal fab around the shop, as well as a lot of bottles of gas. So I want to get organized with the metal fab, and I think the best thing to do is just make a custom welding cart for the metal fab. And on the cart, it will hold the laser and the wire feed unit. I also want this cart to hold 2 bottles of gas, 1 argon and 1 oxygen. And then down in the bottom of the cart, I want to put some drawers in there with some custom 3D scanned and 3D printed organizers. And that way I can store all of the nozzles and tips and consumables, the safety gear, all of that can go down in the drawers. And before I get started, I do want to point out that I'm going to be using the X-Tool metal fab to do all of the CNC cutting, hand cutting, and welding on this project. And if you aren't familiar with the metal fab, it is a 1200 watt laser cutter, welder, engraver, and cleaner. And if you want to know more information, I have a link to the X-Tool webpage down in the description. There you can find out pricing information, any specials going on, and any other information you want to know about the metal fab. And we also have recently done a full review on the metal fab here on the Making Stuff channel, and I will have a link to that video down in the description as well. So I've got all of the pieces and parts that I need for this welding cart designed up on my computer. So let's head over to the metal fab CNC and start cutting some parts. Okay, so I've got the drawers all tacked up and bent in the shape. You can see here I just went around and tacked the corners. Then I measured across to make sure everything was the correct dimensions. And using that little tab technique, like right here are the tabs. This is the technique that I used on the drawers for the toolbox that I built several years ago, and it worked great for that. And it looks like it's going to work great for this project as well. So now the only thing left to do is weld up these drawers. And this is what the drawer looks like after it has been fully welded. You just can't beat the metal fab for welding on this sheet metal. I believe this is 90 thousandths, so that might be, I think, 14 gauge. I'm not for sure, but yeah, I mean, look at these welds. These are pretty decent looking for thin sheet metal. And if I flip it around, you can see it did penetrate, but it didn't blow through. The metal fab did an awesome job on these drawers, both cutting them out and welding them together. So let's move on and start working on the frame. All right, so the metal fab did an awesome job welding this frame together. I didn't have to grind down any of the welds, not even the outside edges. They all look nice and flat and smooth. And as you can see, I am standing on this frame and it is not collapsing. So that means that the welds are nice and strong as well. And I think what I'm going to do next is put the sides on the cart, also get my centerpiece in here, and that way I can get the drawers mounted. All right, so at this point, I thought I was finished. All I had to do was paint the frame, the top and the bottom, add the hardware and the wheels, and I'd be done. But I realized I forgot one thing, and that is I need a handle, something out here on the front where I can grab it and easily turn it and move it around the shop. So what I think I'm going to do is, instead of just putting a handle up here, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone, and I'm going to build a platform that can be used as a handle. Then that way, when I'm using the CNC machine, I can lay my notebook computer on top of the platform. Now, I'm not going to do this on camera. I'm going to do it off camera because it's just a repeat of what you've already seen, just cutting and welding. And for me, it's going to be a couple of hours, I think, to get all of this finished and dialed in. But for you guys, it's only going to be a split second and then it's done. I've got my shelf up here that's going to act as a handle. I've got the tops welded in on all three of the surfaces. So now the only thing left to do is paint it, slap the hardware on it, and put it to use. And I know that watching the painting process isn't all of that exciting, so I think I'm going to do this off camera. And while the paint is drying, let's head over to the workbench and talk about how I'm going to organize the drawers on this welding cart. I decided to just go ahead and use the Gridfinity system because it is free and there are plenty of generators and other files you can download online. And if you aren't familiar with Gridfinity, it's basically just what it sounds like. You make a grid and then you make a tray or a bin, and you can see this one here that I've made has the same grid pattern on the bottom, and it just kind of locks into place, I guess kind of like Legos. And for this tray right here, you can see that I 3D scanned the cutting nozzle that's used in the CNC machine and put that into this tray here using Blender so that this piece fits nicely in place. There's also a little cutout there for the welding nozzle. And then there's also a couple of little holders there for some extra tips. And here's another tray that just holds an assortment of tips. It also has a little cutout there for the handheld nozzle and tip. And here's another tray that's got one side here for all of these extra lens protectors, some other tips, save gas nozzles, cutting nozzle tips. All this stuff is brand new. It hasn't been opened, and I've got it all nice and neatly organized in this tray. And here's one of the drawers for the welding cart. So I'm just going to drop a grid down in there, and then I can put my trays in here and lock them into place. And this drawer will hold two of these trays, and I guess I will have to put this tray over in the second drawer. All right, so I'm calling this project done, and I couldn't be more happier with the results. I've got everything I need to run the metal fab all right here in one place. I've got the CNC platform, the wire feeder for the welder, the actual laser module itself. Down in the drawers, I've got all of the consumables. I've also got both bottles of gas right here on the back of the cart. I can switch between argon or oxygen depending on what I am doing with the metal fab. And also, I think this is one of my favorite features of this cart is I've got this little work platform right here on top, and it allows me to work on my notebook computer, and it seems that it is exactly the right height that I need to comfortably work with the software when I am running the metal fab. And if we look down here in the drawers, you can see I've got the Gridfinity trays all set up. I do have room to expand and make some more trays over here on this drawer. And I think what I'm going to do is create a tray for the safety glasses, because I seem to always be looking for the safety glasses when I want to run the metal fab. But for now, I've got the grounding clamp and the trays with the nozzles and all of the consumables. And I know some of you are probably thinking, hey, the laser and the wire feeder, those are sitting on casters. Well, these casters do lock into place. And not only will the casters not roll when they're locked, they also will not rotate. So I'm pretty confident that the laser and the wire feeder is sitting on here good enough that it is not going to fall off while I'm moving the cart around. So I'm really happy with the way this project turned out. I can't wait to get out here and make some more stuff with the metal fab. It's going to be really nice and convenient having everything right here in one place. all organized on this cart. And if you're thinking about purchasing a metal fab, you can get a free set of protective lenses. All you have to do is add them to your shopping cart along with the metal fab. Then at checkout, just use the discount code LENSMS. That's LENSMS. And this offer can be used with other X-Tool promotions and sales, and it's valid until March 31st of 2026. I also want you to know about the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale that is currently going on now through December 25th, where you can save up to $2,000 on the purchase of a metal fab. Just check out the link that I've got down in the description of the video for more information. And I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash that like button, give me the big thumbs up. And if you aren't a subscriber, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you don't miss any more upcoming Making Stuff videos. And thanks for watching.